Participate in a conversation with once conservative, now liberal Midwest mastered prepared special education high school teacher and a self-proclaimed devil's advocate, East Coast conservative liberal, baccalaureate prepared registered nurse. These two strangers met, became instant friends, and realized their conversations are candid and epic. So join us weekly, ask us questions, and listen to these profoundly candid friends try to solve the world's problems, one discussion at a time.
Hey. Welcome to another awesome episode of The New Theory with Monet and Jared, aka TNT with MJ. I am Jared.
I'm Monet.
And together we are teaching minds
and nurturing souls.
And Monet, you and I were having a conversation before we got on this, and I could tell that you were pretty fired up.
Yeah.
So that being the case, you had stated that we're going to call this episode ultimately Critical Race Theory. Because what this conversation is going to center around. There has in the recent, and if you're like me, you would know this possibly. I don't know what news you necessarily follow, but be that as it may. But within the last 48 hours, there have been two striking headlines. One of them deals with Governor DeSantis in Florida, who has signed a bill that he labels woke, quote unquote, for those who are listening, quote unquote, woke bill. Its official title is Stop the Wrongs on Our Kids and Employees Act, aka Woke Act. And then this morning I read a headline that basically read that Ted Cruz's new ebook, a 10-page, mind you, ebook, where he argues that critical race theory uses the term equity, and equity is a critical race theory is ultimately teaches equity, and which is discrimination against white people. So,
okay, can I just start off by saying, if you've never listened to a single one of our podcast episodes, this is the absolute one to listen to. We said that about a couple of others. True. But I said because the term critical theory or CRT,
critical race theory, CRT, critical race theory,
thrown all over the place, and it has now become a we hate it, we love it ideology, or we hate it, we understand it ideology. From day one, Eric and our objectives have been to enlighten, inspire those to go out and research and find information for themselves, to have open dialogues about uncomfortable conversations, or at least listen to what happens behind closed doors between two relatives, two mutual friends, two people that have passion about various subjects of social concern. With that being, I am sick and tired of hearing people talk about critical race theory and not understand where it's coming from. And so Jared lets me go off with his polishing cloth to clean it up and make it right, because the objective is to make people realize I have to bring it down to a very nano level. Okay, critical race theory is not a term, is not an education platform for us to hate America. Please repeat it. It is not a platform for us to hate white people or America. It is like, and I use this analogy with Jared. It's like when you're a kid, right? And you grow up with your parents know everything. They are everything. They're all encompassing. And then you get older between your adolescent and your young adult years, and you're like, my parents are fucked up. My parents didn't tell me everything. This is horrible. My parents are wrong. And then you really start hitting adulthood stride, and you realize, my parents did the best they could. Okay, they're doing the best they could.
Yeah.
And then when you get that mature adult you're like, yo, I love my parents, because this thing called life is not easy. Critical race theory is to say, guess what? In America, things were done not in the most kosher or not in the most palatable way. And we're wrong for that. Okay.
Right.
The outcome is what we're living now.
Exactly.
I.e., a descendant of slaves, an immigrant that was, your ancestors were harassed by traditional Americans when they first came over to this country. Well, Middleton.
Well, shit, my ancestors were, man. Yeah. Okay. Recently, it was confirmed. My dad finally fessed up to it. We are actually descendant of the Arthur Middleton who signed the Declaration of Independence, who owned that South Carolina plantation that it was referenced in The Patriot.
Shit. Okay, Jared, not you, but we're going.
Yeah, I'm serious. I'm not even kidding. Like, I even traced it to that level, and then I had it confirmed, by another relative. That's just like, yep.
Damn.
Not that not that I'm proud of that by any stretch, but to an extent, like,
so proud of.
I'm like,
I mean, you look,
it's hilarious. It's a little ironic to me that I'm descendant of that, and here I am with the background that I've got.
Yeah, that's my history. I have to look into it. That's interesting. Let's grow with it.
Exactly.
The objective of critical race theory is to essentially right the wrongs of the past, but not make people feel like, it's like, remember when you were kids, you got into a fight, and then 5 minutes later you were best friends again.
Oh yeah.
But
you
can't discuss or get involved in the antics that got you to that point, or maybe sometimes you had to repeat it a couple of times before you realize this is how my friend, it's like a push and pull, driving a stick shift type deal, knowing when to get. How our relationships back in the day, 80s and 90s, 70s, 80s, 90s, even for some of my older siblings, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s were formulated. So with that being said, without using too many big words and just speaking like we candidly do, I feel like critical race theory is helping America grow the fuck up and say, guess what? We fucked over the Indians, and we did. And you know what? We were wrong for that, because these wealthy people who create, go ahead.
For those who are listening, I call the timeout because I want to correct the usage of words.
What?
The word Indian.
A Native American, sorry.
Or indigenous people. But I'm just saying, Indian was a huge misnomer, and now has become even more a misnomer, because even Indians don't call themselves Indians. People in India don't call themselves Indians, So I'm just saying, the first, I'll just say Columbus was the one that fucked that shit up. He thought he was going to India. When he landed, he thought he was in India, so he called them Indians, because what do colonists do, and they just call them by a generic term. But that's just me. Go ahead. I just wanted
to and for those that are just like, wait, Jared, no, let me explain something to you. Sorry,
you're good.
Hello? Okay.
Yeah,
let me explain to the listening and viewing audience. This is I love exposing the ignorance that was perpetuated to us as children. And as a 46-year-old woman, I know I have been very cognizant of calling. Did I use that word right, Jared? What? Cognizant.
Yeah. You had that right.
All right. I want y'all to know. All right, that's number one. But number two, I'm cognizant of recognizing, calling the natives, calling the people, the indigenous.
There you go.
By those terms, as opposed to saying Indian. But as you can see, my level of comfort and my anger in conversation, my primary language is coming out. So using Indian shows that was ignorance that we were taught. Cowboys and Indians. Come on.
Because that was in the textbooks.
Thank you. And it's like, and people are like, we got to change. Well, let me explain something to you. What you did 5 years ago, what you did 20, 30 years ago you're not doing now. Having a cell phone 15 years ago that we have, the kind that we have now, you couldn't even fathom.
Exactly.
Literally, banks and cards in your hand. I'm talking on a video right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Because my tablet is dead.
Yeah, shit. I mean, we were watching, what was it? Terminator. What was those futuristic movies back in the 80s where they're like video calling each other, like, that's crazy. But here we are.
Right? And it's commonplace. It's normal now.
Yeah.
It's not like only the affluent people do it. Anybody that has the 1, 2, whatever 5-year phone can do it now, in a sense.
Yeah. All that new knowledge equals growth.
Thank you. And this is what people know. So critical race theory, how can we use it in more layman terms? How can we get down to the brass tacks? We fucked up as Americans. How do we grow? We acknowledge the mistakes that we made. This is what our parents didn't do. And now it's transcending into our social norm now. It's acknowledging, hey, I made a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on. I am not going to sit here. This is the only country I know. Whether you love it or hate it, it is. Right. I don't get it. And I know all the songs, and there is a sense of pride, okay? When you sing the national, because this is what we call home. If you're sitting here, you live in a city, real shit, and you have a football team or a basketball team or a college team that you absolutely love, that communal pride is just natural. So I can't change it, but what I can do is change how we perpetuate our past. In a sense, like writing Paul Revere, we're finding out that there were slaves that were involved with this and that they didn't get recognition. I'm just saying, it's like we're in our knowledge, not to take anything, not to detract anything from Paul Revere, or some people need to be like you. Y'all was ignorant, okay? Getting recognized, like who? What founding father should not be considered a reputable founding father? I don't know. It's like all of them right now. Could be whispering about Jefferson, who was having sex with a minor and making kids with her. Yeah. And now the biracial children from this biracial slave that he was having sex with, they're coming to, like, now are they afforded the same luxuries as the whites? White. These are conversations that need to be had.
Exactly. And going back to the headlines, I would argue in regards to again the woke bill. I mean, like, you're implicitly saying that you are asleep. That's the flip side of that fucking coin. You're asleep. And for you to for anyone to agree with that, then by extension, you're asleep.
Yes, you're acknowledging,
exactly. You're acknowledging that there's something there, and
by not acknowledging.
I'm just saying.
Do y'all get it? Like, I want to ask the audience, do you get it? Like, by them creating a bill using a local current colloquialism as woke, they don't even know, the term is used in urban communities and for people that are, saying, I recognize the game, the bullshit, the ruse that the government or, affluent white people are pulling over minorities. So therefore I'm woke and I'm paying attention. That's essentially where it derives from. Essentially, I mean, we can go into semantics about this, that, but essentially it's a term used by.
That I'm still awakening.
We all are fucking waking.
I mean, exactly.
Oh, Derek, we are.
Yeah. If you want to,
And so people are like, but I'm not comfortable. Get the fuck uncomfortable. Get uncomfortable with recognizing what you don't the fuck know.
Yeah,
okay.
Get past your face, man. Get past that.
Wake up and be like, I don't know it. So open up yourself for education. Stop victimizing and acting like critical race theory is going to take something from you. Let me explain something to you. For those that are like,
here and say that there's a difference between critical race theory, which is not even a course ever fucking taught. You can't enroll in that class, period. And it's not even taught in any K-12 school, period. So even on a graduate level, you can't enroll in a critical race theory class. It's a theory that's introduced within a particular class. So almost like the evolution theory that's taught in science class. Oh, evolution theory for my Christian friends out there. I'll just leave it there. Anyway, I don't want to open that can of worms, but I don't digress. But it's still likening to the same thing. You know, it's ironic to me that the majority of the people that I've heard argue critical race theory are traditionally conservative, Republican, and by extension, usually Christian.
A trifecta.
I'm just saying, if you're going to spout Christian doctrine, recognize that the word Christian itself was once used as a derogatory term that you are now using with the word woke.
Or identify with your conservative white idealism. Like, I'm Christian and I happen to be white and I'm American. Being white is not the worst. Okay, there's white people that are cool as shit. And there's white people.
I'm gonna stop there. I'm sorry. I'm gonna interrupt you again because
hurry the fuck up.
Like it just, this whole thing just pisses me off. And you know that I've been fighting this shit since the summer.
Yeah.
I've been involved in Teach Truth campaigns since May of 2020.
Yes.
I'm very versed in critical race theory. I know what the fuck I'm talking about. I know how to argue it against it. And to be honest with you, if you don't understand the critical part of critical race theory, then we just need to end the conversation. So that being said, I'm going to go back to what I said, a year and a half ago, where I said there's no such thing as white.
Go ahead, I'm listening. Well, there really isn't, but
I mean, in regards to skin tone, there's no such thing as white, unless you're albino.
Yeah. And then that is the term for that complexion.
There you go.
But Jared, they came up when it's another conversation. We're talking about critical race theory.
You're right. We are.
But it does involve white people. And there's
it involves the standard of whiteness.
Yes, it does. And the standard of whiteness, it's like, I like the community, and I like the ideologies, I like the course of life, the way we're living it. And I don't want it to be influenced, manipulated, or changed. And that's okay, because a lot of people like that. I have a home with my children. I have a standard of living I'm accustomed to. I don't want it to be manipulated or changed. I like the calm comfort that we live in. Okay.
Right.
We live in an all Black community. We live in a community that's full of minorities. Okay. All Black and Hispanic, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that I would be offended or upset if a white family moved in, but I'm going to scrutinize and question, what are your intentions in this community? Real shit. And I know some white people be like, hey, Monet, what? Well, of course I really wouldn't I don't give a fuck about people like that, for real. Like, just as long as you're good, calm, and kind, like, but there's a side, there are people that are like questioning what is going on there. But because I'm a minority in this country and I've been beat down so many times, for real, I'm like, as long as you're not violent and you're not angry, I don't give a fuck. But then we did have this conversation where, like, more white people are more dangerous towards minorities than vice versa. And it's like, people like don't want to have that conversation. But the critical race theory kind of exposes it. It's like, yeah, but look at what your ancestors did. Okay. And you're not acknowledging it. By not acknowledging it, it's like you're almost suppressing it, acting like it didn't exist. And all we're doing is saying it did exist. Let's make it right. Okay.
Well, and ultimately, what critical race theory amplifies is that racism is a system that has been built from the very beginning of the inception of this country, and that's it.
Jared,
and anything that comes of that, I mean, needs to be addressed.
Can you please say what you just said again?
I will
No,
do.
right?
So critical race theory amplifies the idea that racism is a system in and of itself that has been, that was developed from the very beginning of, or the very inception of this country. I mean, you go back into the history of Jamestown.
And so, Jared,
I'm just saying, you go back to the history of Jamestown, that was built on slaves' backs.
Jared, when you
on top of the expense of the indigenous people that were there, that they ended up screwing over back in the 1600s. Back in the 1600s.
But you remember,
I'm just saying,
have the people that are like, I'm from Viking descent, and I'm very proud of the fact that brawn versus brains, and brawn always, we manipulated, we utilized, tactic and skill, and that's how we got over. It was witty. We were witty when we, swindled and took these things, because those words are real for a reason.
Yep. I'm not arguing.
And let's acknowledge it, because when you hear a race of people crying, complaining, and they're upset, and here we are, we're born into this world now, and we're like, why are they upset? Because this is all I know.
Yeah.
You pause, get out of your comfort zone, and say, why are they?
Yeah. You ask why.
You gotta fucking listen. And when you're not listening, and you're taking little tidbits and adding to it and say, okay, well, that's it. No, it's like, if I were to sit here and ask anybody, like, all right, let me explain this. I love New York for Ellis Island. I love, everybody's like, why, Monet, you black? Because I have friends that I absolutely love that don't have a hater bone or ignorant bone in their body. Their ancestors came through there. And to me, yeah, I'm serious.
I'm sorry, but speaking of critical race theory, and then kind of getting to the immigration part of it, at one point, immigrants were able to come in and go and just flow through Ellis Island. So long as you had the proper documentation, which they more often than not had, obviously, and even if they didn't, they made a way. Well, they made it happen. I mean, seriously, anyway. Talk about open borders, you hypocrites, throwing it out there. Anyway,
but they want to hear those cute stories, but they don't know, like, those are real stories. And so I like to share everybody's happiness and goodness, no matter what race, religion, creed, or you are.
Yeah.
I'm not, I'm a human first, and then I'm all these other things, but I'm full of love. And so what I'm afraid that people hear critical race theory and they're like, I don't want to change. Well, ask yourself, why are all these white people don't want it? Ask yourself. You play checkers and chess. You ask yourself, why are they taking that move? Because I have to anticipate the next move. Why are all these people saying, the trifectas, all these people that happen to be Caucasian, that happen to be conservative, and happen to be Christian, why are they all saying the same thing? Why are they hearing tidbits from people they want to hear shit from and saying, okay, answer, instead of saying, like, yo, have I had conversations with people from the Ku Klux Klan? Yes. Have I had conversations with people that used to be in the Ku Klux Klan and are no longer? Yes. And I said, okay, it's like a club. It makes you feel included. It's an inclusive environment. Unfortunately, it's on the foundation of hate and ignorance, but it's deriving from people that don't feel that love, inclusion, and confidence at home. And it's a bond on something. It is a bunch of hate. People, please don't come. The fact of the matter is, I'm a real conscientious observer, and I'd rather everybody's picture as opposed to, I have to. I cannot sit here and working in the psych industry, working in the medical industry, coming with my own, what do we call it, Jared? Jared's one of my favorite educational words Jared used.
Oh, and shit. Now you got me thrown, you've like put me in a, I'm like a fuck, what are you talking about? What?
Implicit bias.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, of course. You use that more often than I do, so let's be real.
No, I get off on because you used that word our first year of recording so much.
I did. You're right. Well, because at the time, Clinton was using it as a kind of platform. Yeah.
So
and I dug it, and I still dig it.
I loved it.
I know that everybody has their opinion about Hillary Clinton and the Clinton Foundation and all this. I don't want to get into that, but point being, that's why. But yes, no, implicit bias by all means. In fact, I actually used that in a focus group with my colleagues the other day.
You did? I
did. Like one of the sidebar, by the way, we'll get back to what she's talking about. So now so we have focus groups at our high school now, or where I'm at, and it's like 6 or 7 groups of almost 20 teachers each. It's weird. Anyway, I don't know the numbers exactly, but it was pretty massive. But we are the focus group that talks about continuous improvement and growth within our school. And so the question was posed, what does that look like for you? And so for me, I actually used the word bias, recognizing our biases in order to be more culturally inclusive. So that being said, that just triggered my memory. So I just wanted to get that sidebar. So anyway, go ahead.
It's a good reflection on how to utilize this understanding in your personal life.
Yes.
And so I say the implicit bias, it's like I have to eradicate them. I can't just be like, oh, I'm taking care of this white patient, they're going to hate me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the point of implicit bias. I mean, if you are I don't want to speculate, but if you're someone who's going to explore their implicit bias, I'll just put it that way. If you're willing to explore your implicit bias, then you recognize that you will, in the future, recognize those triggers, recognize those environments or what have you that would bring those up in order to ultimately act against them.
Let's use an example. I'm a white woman walking in a parking lot and I see a black man with a hoodie walking towards a car. Everybody's like, eh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Why white woman? And I did.
Yeah.
I'm a black woman. I see a white man with a fucking what is it on his back? What's it called? A Confederate flag on his back. Oh, everybody feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm scared. What the fuck is gonna happen to me with this? Maybe because of the old jacket he had and he didn't even know the flag was on his back. But my implicit bias is that motherfucker's racist and he probably may say or do something negative towards me as a black woman. Some white women like, I don't know that black man. He may be, because more white people have more. I'm just gonna say it. I don't give a fuck.
Go ahead.
A lot of trifectas, Christian conservative, they have more implicit bias because their communities are small. They only talk amongst themselves. They don't share. They don't have culturally sharing knowledge. They look to a younger generation to get information and be like, okay, now that you've experienced them, come back home. Don't, and then keep all the other bullshit stuff. No, we're not having, garlic in our food. Yeah, there's some white people that still don't eat garlic. Not real shit.
Oh, they're missing flavor. I'm telling you, they're just missing flavor. In fact, you and I have had conversations. I don't know if I've talked about Randy on this show. I've now named him. The guy that I was that guy. We just recently had a conversation about garlic, and we both. He's talking about somebody making spaghetti sauce and adding garlic salt to the sauce, and I just cringed, and he's like, yeah. So anyway, all that to say, no, get over it. Garlic's awesome. Spaghetti. Anyway, just go ahead.
I was watching a movie. Oh, I love this. My favorite winter movie.
Okay.
Life. Everybody needs to watch A Wonderful Life now.
Okay.
Holidays is
I
a
have
beautiful.
once.
You listen to the dialogue of the people, especially Mr. Potter. He has so much implicit bias and ignorance in him, and he happens to represent what? Rich white man. He said something about garlic about him, which is a reference to Italian people. Okay. That all the years that I've seen that movie almost every year I can remember because it's a holiday movie.
Sure.
When he said it, this is the first time I heard it, and I'm like, what the fuck? He said, "Oh, you wanted your garlic eating friends." I was like, yo.
Whoa.
Yo. See, I didn't
Whoa.
see the movie, right? Because, and I'm gonna watch it again just for shit and giggles. James, not James, but the main character.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. I can't think of it.
I had COVID. I got COVID.
Yeah, you're good.
He was given, it was the savings and loans, and he was giving it to people that couldn't otherwise get it if they went to a larger bank, because banks were always about let's get you. If you can pay it off, then you can have it. But if you don't get it, not only do we keep your money, but we're going to get your property and resell it. And he's all about, no, let's let you keep your property, let you keep your money, and let you grow your own businesses and stuff. And that's the whole premise of the movie. But he did it for everybody. People that were considered, see, for them, at that time, an Italian person was close, but not, to a minority, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying they were close to black people. So it was like, that was as far as they could go without literally utilizing black people. But I want you to notice at the end, when everybody was giving him the money because he lost that 15,000 or whatever his uncle did, and Potter actually had, and people was just giving money, black people was coming in and giving money too, and they was the help. So that I'm saying, then that's trying to imply that he was not only helping, he was helping everybody, blacks, whites, letting black people open up accounts, whites of lower socioeconomic status, the Italians, and all this other.
Okay. Well, now I gotta go back and rewatch it.
Yes, you gotta really watch the movie, and of course I'm bawling out by the end of it because it's just the simplicity. You know what, Jared? We talk about how much we love, but one act of kindness to a stranger goes a long way. And that movie proves it. He said, if we eradicate you, what's going to happen to all these people? You may think that because when bad things happen to you, it's a way of like, you didn't deserve it, or, you're a failure or something. But sometimes it's to humble you and make you realize, like, oh, wow, I have so much. And I'm so grateful. And well, let's figure it work if we're working. If you sit stagnant and don't work. But back to critical race theory, and because that's the point.
They go hand in hand.
They kind of do. Yeah, it does.
Let's kind of be real.
It's like enlightening. Movie. I'm 40 years old that I've seen for of my cognition, of my cognitive years, at least 30 years. All right, real shit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna digress. 35 years that I can say I watched this movie through and understand it. 30 years of watching this movie, 35 years of watching this movie. This is the first time in my life I not only looked at it, but looked at it on a larger scale, on a deeper scale, on a more nano specified. And it kind of cut a little deeper, because it was like, it wasn't just things that were said and I saw, it was the other acting things around it that made it like, damn. They were saying so much volume. And because I was just focusing on, what they wanted me to see, but now I'm looking at everything. So this is what I'm saying. Those that are hearing this for the first time, or those that are saying, I'm going to take the knowledge that I'm getting from Jared and Monet, and I'm going to say, critical race theory isn't anything negative about white people. It's just
not at all.
No, it's us growing up and realizing that our made a lot of mistakes, and it's now our responsibility.
Exactly. I mean, we are only products of the decisions that were made that we had no control over.
None.
That's really all it boils down to. So now what are you going to do with that knowledge?
Let's make it right.
Yourselves, get out of that bubble. that was imposed upon you that as you grew older, you perpetuated to no fault of your own, and just get past that. As I know that's easier said than done, because I'm not gonna lie, I was actually thinking about this the other day. I went through the 5 stages of grief, if you recall.
Yes, we did.
I went through the 5 stages of grief when I came to these realizations.
Yeah, for almost both of us.
Fair enough.
I mean, Jared, just because I'm Black doesn't mean I'm born with all the fucking answers. You know, humanity.
Well, no, I don't. Well, you're right. No, you're no.
No, God, no. Come on, Jared. You know, never. I never.
But you and I both have obviously different lived experiences. You know,
but
my bubble is a whole lot different than what your bubble is.
I know, like your ancestors own mine.
Fair enough.
Ain't funny, no, it's fucking funny. Fuck you.
Oh, okay. And
Now,
on that note, no, I'm just kidding.
they're like, fuck yeah, that's right. Reparations.
Oh my gosh.
It's not coming from there. Want that shit from the
Oh my god. No. Oh man.
People fuck up. This is how these conversations go. And this is how they should.
That was so great.
With love, laughter, and tears, and then hopefully change. Because our second season is 2.0. It's for us to find galvanize. Just give us a fucking minute. God damn it, we're living. Galvanize and start doing projects to help enrich. Like Jared already started. He's on Teach the Truth campaign. He's ready to get out there, let the world know we have something. We have information and we want to share.
Black history is American history, yo. That's all it boils down to. I mean, and going back to the original headlines, in Cruz's ebook, he talks about something about getting back to teaching the I guess I can't remember how he worded it, but something about American history and how critical race theory just skews that, and we need to get back to the core of American history, and that is American greatness. Here's the irony to that: American greatness was built on the backs of slaves. Let's be real.
Keep it real. That's
Labor
our economic
equals zero payout.
Yeah. So therefore, that was
profit is 100%. You want to talk American greatness, and then you want to talk about capitalism. Well, guess what? Capitalism came as a result of that shit.
Yeah. So
I'm just saying. Yeah. You want to argue against socialism? Well, let's get down to it. Are you on SSI? Are you on SSD?
Get
any kind of federal payment of retirement? Do you have a 401k? You know, all these other things that are, you know, how do you like getting your mail every day?
Jerry.
You know, I'm just saying.
The streets that you're driving on, the fucking street
exactly.
lights, the pavement.
You want to talk infrastructure? Yeah.
Real shit. You're going to sit here and say, you know, 73% or 76% of people on SSI are Caucasian. Can y'all wake the fuck up? Can y'all really just wake the fuck up and stop acting like it's other people? No. Know who your audience is and stop acting like it excludes you because they're using technical, you know, language, and they've already geared you. When you say welfare, people automatically think of minorities. They think of Black people.
Well, yeah, and shit, going back to Cruz's thing, his whole 10-page ebook is designed to win the language war, quote unquote, against critical race theory.
Wake the fuck up.
Here are the trigger words to look for: systemic racism, discrimination, equity. Are you kidding me?
People, Jared is saying,
wake the fuck up.
Wake up. He trying to use the word woke and put a twist on it. And the reality is it's like a system that still plays the majority of people to believe that what's happening. Look, please read some fucking books. Read some
Shit. You know what? Let's start here. Go and look up. And I read this morning, and it was very profound. It was very timely concerning this conversation. Go and look up what's called, it's a poem. It's called Two Sets of Notes, written by M.K. Asante. You could actually go to YouTube and see him. I think it is him. I'm not sure. I don't want to misspoke. I Googled it. I saw a YouTube video of the reading of it. I'm like, I don't know if that's him or not. I didn't do enough digging, but it was impressive nonetheless. And it moved me to the core.
My father was a police officer. Did I ever tell y'all that? He was an MP in the military. No, I don't ever. All this time we were talking all this shit, I forgot. Yeah, my dad was part of the man squad. But you understand, because this is history that's not going to be taught. Where Jared, the educator of the best, where did a police officer's creation come from?
Oh, in America, they originated from I think 1830s, Fugitive Slave Act, nonetheless. And you can Google that, Fugitive Slave Act. It was in the 1830s. It empowered private citizens to hunt down and capture freed, real or perceived slaves and return them back to the nearest master.
No, you're fucking history.
No, the nearest master, because the wording is return them to their quote unquote their master. But I mean, okay, there is the reality that they were branded, and therefore that knowledge would have been known as to what that brand is and who it belongs to. So as grotesque as that is, but still their quote unquote master. So anyway, but yeah, that's where the modern police force originated.
And people are like, but why are we talking about? Because you don't know the first time, I guess you gotta hear it the fuck again. Wake up. Nobody's saying we don't support the police. Yes, we will call 911 if somebody's breaking into our house. We're trained to do that. Some of us have guns or not.
It's a good word. Trained.
We are. So with that,
in context of the conversation, just saying.
Yeah, it's true.
You're right. So I'm not lying. I'm not arguing. Sorry.
No. Honestly, it's like, think about everything you do. And some people are like, it's exhausting. I want to be numb and just, drink and do whatever the fuck I want to do. And yeah, that's cool. But sometimes you are a part of society. There's there's people like Jared.
Sometimes.
that will help guide you to say, this is the platform I'm going to stand on, and this is where I'm going to have my opinion voiced, and this is where I'm going to put my energy to make betterment for something or someone else. That's all. You don't have to go at it like you, but at least pick something, damn. Pick something.
Yeah.
And it'll lead to a better life. You think me and Eric run around talking about, well, we kind of do talk about BLM on, but
yeah.
We don't brand it on ourselves like this is all we know and this is all we're going to talk about. No, we have lives, we have games that we, children we're raising, and like we're going to see. Me and my kids are going to see Spider-Man. That's why we got to get off. What's our time?
Oh, that's why you got to be off in the next 1 minute.
That's why, because we're living.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I got to go teach my daughter chess, so it's all good.
Yeah, have date nights and game nights with the family. We have other lives. There's
Absolutely.
Just that we feel like, you know what?
This is the hill I'm going to die on, yo.
Yeah.
And this is where I'm going to proclaim my word. Not necessarily my word. Bear in mind, it's not just mine. Truth is truth. History is history. What happened, happened. I can't change that shit.
No.
I'm going to be damned if it's not taught.
And I'm not going to be damned if I don't put my footprint in the future to say we're going to go for the betterment.
Exactly.
And so to reiterate,
you want to talk patriotism. True patriotism is questioning your country, questioning its foundation, questioning its laws, questioning its constitution, because God forbid, oh my God,
for the better.
and this is where I make the religious analogy. What kind of faith do you fucking have if you can't question it? What kind of patriotism can you have do you have if you can't question that?
If you don't question it, there's room for growth, advancement, and betterment.
Exactly.
Because that's the objective, to question to make it better. If that's the case, we still be fucking riding around a horse and carriage. Can you fucking wake up?
There you go.
In evolvement, to evolve, not evolve.
Exactly.
Sorry.
No, I got you. I was getting your vibe. You're good.
We're trying to evolve in a positive direction. We live here. We can't claim nothing of no one else. This is our motherfucking country. So if we're going to be the best we can. So that whole make America great shit, yeah, I agree. Let's do it. Let's talk to make this shit better. Oh, no, you mean to go back. No, bitch, you can't go back. You can't.
And that's where I go back to the 2 sets of notes by M.K. Asante, because he actually speaks to that very thing. And
do better.
Wait. So, Monet, final word. We got to close it out.
Yeah, I know. So my final word is, it is the holiday season. I don't think we're recording next week because we are going to celebrate. Even though I'm Jewish, I have to work on Christmas and New Year's. And my kids are
I'm a teacher who's taking advantage of a 2-week break. So you know what? There it is.
So with that being said, we wish you all a wonderful holiday season, a happy new year with full of love, health, good health and longevity. I pray for protection and peace for everyone. That being said, I love you. Bye.